Yo, Tony D with the mega review, Robocop, issue 9. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. Special shout out to Cyberman. He recommended this series. It has not disappointed. Highly recommended. Not even if you don't have to be a Robocop fan, just a fan of action. And I'll leave it at that. Great action, great writing. So, Joshua Williams is on the writing, and we have a little different illustrator, Alejandro Aragon. And at first I was like, oh man, because I don't like it when they switch up artists because I'm in such a groove. But you know what your boy does? I went for the positive, and I kept my mindset like that as I read, and we'll keep it going from there. It's an unbiased, honest review, so we'll keep it rolling. We're in this dystopian saga where gun control laws have turned the city into a literal powder keg. And Killian is the antagonist. He's very charismatic. He uses fear and propaganda to rally the masses. And he has done that in such a cunning way in the previous issues where they literally have evidence of him offing someone, and they play it, and he is so quick on his feet, he turns it to his advantage. So he's a very cerebral, I'm trying to say it right, cerebral opponent to our Robocop, who is kind of always has that struggle with being a cyborg and the morality of he still has his human part in him. So that struggle is always there, but it's caught really good here. You know, he's always caught between his programming and his conscience. I think that sums it up a little bit better. But let's dive into the mega review. So we still have Marisa Luis on color, and that's important because I have been highlighting the importance of color, and the colors do change a little bit. There's still a muted palette where we still focus on what we need to focus on, but it's not as muted as the previous issues. And I think it's because of artistic style, and you'll see as we go along if you've looked at the other reviews. And so Robocop, at this point, Killian's like, he has escaped. They were taking him in, he's escaped, and you're kind of picking up in a weird area in this issue. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's not like a filler issue. It's just more of, okay, Killian's escaped, and you still have a relationship with Lewis and Robocop, but she is a detective now, and he's partnered up with this guy who I thought this was a good addition of a character. He pretty much, uses Robocop as a shield to bust into this room. And as it turns out, bam. I wouldn't call this a potty mouth panel, but it was still like when I turned the page, it was like, oh wow, this is what's happening. It's a trap. And it's illustrated really fantastic. So the illustration's quite a bit different. And you really notice Carlos, his illustrations was more of like a stipple effect, really detailed. And I think that whatever process he used, Maurice, I don't know if there was any digital involved in the process, but if I can pull out, like, bear with me and let me pull out, okay, yeah, I'll pull out an issue and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And it's not a big deal. It's just, I think it's important to kind of point these things out. Because sometimes, if you're not really, in the dissecting a book like what I've been doing, you may look at it and it may feel like a totally different book and bum you out. But as you can see, if I can find, yeah, like right here, there's more of it's highly detailed. And the other style it's more of a simple, it's hard to describe. It's more of a simple flow. I might say. I like it, but it's a very high contrast if you look. Not a big deal though. So as you can see, the color palette is totally different, and I don't know. I'll have to research it. Hey, if the process, smarten us up. It's kind of a rabbit hole, but things like that, they're worthy of mention. So we have a trap here. Robocop, these panels where if you were in like a fight like this, there would be a sense of just closing in on you. Love panel work. So we get the cinematic feel with the narrowing of the panels. You get a sense of urgency like that. It really plays on your emotions. It's really quite brilliant, actually. This character, there's a pivotal moment here with him, and we'll see what happens as we go along in the book. We still have a few issues to go where they're fixing to give Robocop an RPG, and he makes a decision right here, and this kind of defines his character, where he's gonna stick his neck out for Robocop, and he does, breaks a circuit, and here's our guy. Love it. The callback to the drop it creeps. And Robocop gets his guys. So I mean, it's a lot of these issues, you start off like that. It is high action and it's very unapologetic in a lot of the things that you see, but I like it. Totally dig it. So if you're into action, this is it. And it's just like regular people, like kids. So this shows you the effect of Killian. And I think is that Killian? I don't know. I just noticed that. That may be a more prolific figure in history. I'll have to see. Or smarten me up. Yeah, it gives me a spit in the face. Robocop ain't sweating that. He'll just polish it up, man. So you get a little levity, a little humor with this new character. But they gave him a moment, so to say. We'll see how that develops, sets up his narrative later on. And you have Lewis doing her detective work. She totally wants to catch this dude like it's a vendetta, like it's really defining her to a point where she's like a pit bull. And you always have the city. Just the city is a character in itself, which I thought was brilliant, where they're highly manipulated, and it's just, that's the way it is, right? Even in real life, it's the media, any figure that's high profile, very charismatic, they just have that ability and draw. And with technology where it's at in this universe, it's like you could say anything is not real that's shown in video format, which happened last issue. So you have a lot of that going on. And Robocop, he's beat down at this point, and they don't have the funds. I love how they threw that in there, where there's funding involved, gives it more of a real world flavor. So Lewis and his new partner, they kind of have words like, yeah, I really feel like this guy is going to play some kind of role. He may bite it. But yeah, Robocop is breaking down. He's working hard. You know what I mean? So the mayor comes out, and like, this was so funny. Like, man, he gets a drink thrown right on him. I mean, they're turning on the high profile figures for the city. And check that out. So the artist, here's Alejandro. Here's the positive. Like, I always mention expressions, and he really catches a very human expression there, where we get a peek. Okay, there's still a human inside this robot, this cyborg. So that's, little things like that are big. And you get this very stoic, where they're walking away, like they're, iconically, they're partners forever, no matter what. In my mind, that's how I look at it, especially from the movie. And the book did a brilliant job of the tension when these two are splitting up, where she's going for a detective. There's a real coldness of Robocop that seemed human, though, where You know, a lot of humans would react in the same way when someone you truly care about is leaving you. They capture that great in a previous issue or issues. Then you see this guy totally looks like old boy from the movie. And Killian is blackmailing him. So Killian is playing everybody. He's playing chess, as they would say. So they do have a relationship from the past. They touch on that on a previous issue. And really, he's just telling the guy, I'm going to do this, and I'm just letting you know that I'm going to do it. He's pretty much going to make him look bad. Well, he's going to turn OCP against itself and the people. Really, he's getting the people to turn, because the people are, I mean, he's manipulating them. So the people as a whole are a character, and Killian is playing them like a flute. And this is a very touching moment. I mean, literally, like, Lewis still cares about her partner and helping him out. Totally dig this paneling. Just the cinematic flavor of the paneling, it's great. Oh, for some reason, when they narrow panels, I take notice of it, like just the whole expression in her eyes. So Alejandro is like really catching the expressions the way that they should be caught. Even like right there, look at that. Just the whole despair and the caring. So you got all these different expressions. He's nailing it. So now the chief, he gives them that classic, and I'm really glad they added this, where it's a real classic butt chewing, and it just adds to that cinematic flavor. It's really good. And remember this dude? I'll buy that for $1. Totally glad they threw that in there. And his new partner, they're talking about finding Killian because he's escaped, and he's like, hey, he's on the TV. Totally dig it. And so here's Killian manipulating the mob. He's actually hijacked the signal. He's on all the channels, so he's got access to technology. And yeah, he's doing what he's doing. He's almost like a messiah. I think they captured that as well with the hair and the beard, like almost like a Jesus type looking character. So yeah, boom, you get to this. So what he's doing is he's like, pretty much, you know, the city will never be better under the boots of businessmen. Who is OCP? You know, you can never trust the police as long as they're run by the OCP. So that's a big thing. And then it's like, boom, and they're totally into it. It's Killian's plan. It intensifies in this issue, and it's forcing Robocop and his allies to confront not just physical threats, but ideological ones as well. And you're exploring some themes of control, freedom, and consequences of an authoritarian policy, which is these corporations, you know, running things, especially like the police. It's a solid entry. You know, it maintains that serious dark tone and the physiological, you know, the physiological undercurrents. You know, it's not the flashiest issue, but I do believe it's essential for understanding the stakes and motivations that's driving to our final art. Special thanks to Cyberman. Totally dig it. One thing I want to add, if Cyberman, if you're listening, are you into Doctor Who and the Cybermen from that genre? It's a little off topic, but drop me a comment, man. Let me know. I totally dig it. It's more robot stuff we can get into, and we'll just play it from there. But yeah, every issue is important, so get that.